Great. Hey, everyone, and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Ben Gooch, and I'll be your host for this exciting session. We're thrilled to have you with us, and we're looking forward to diving into today's topic. So today we'll be exploring option overload in e-commerce and how to optimize product variations for a better consumer experience. As online shopping continues to grow, one of the challenges we face is offering too many options. So it can overwhelm customers and hurt sales. So before we get started, just a quick note, we want to be as interactive as possible. And if you have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to ask them in the chat. We'll be leaving some time at the end to go over your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them as many as we can. And so don't hesitate to get involved. Just a quick note about me. I'm a research manager at iSquare. I focus on the brand and media experience. I have a background in film and production and sales, specialize in eye tracking, implicit brand, and ad measurements, and I help brands understand how their content engages audience across various platforms, from social and video to traditional media. And I have the great pleasure of introducing Chrissy Love and Meg McNamara. Chrissy is an executive director of Shopper Insights here at iSquare, and she leads our research and consumer shopper behavior. With a background in psychology, Chrissy combines data-driven insights with strategies for optimizing packaging, shelf design, shopper experience. She brings extensive research and experience from the consumer goods industry, and she focuses on both enhancing in-store and shopper experiences online. Meg McNamara is a senior manager of e-commerce at Shopper Insights at Mars Petcareand. She leads initiatives to enhance the digital shopping experience for pet parents. Leveraging her background in marketing research, consumer digital innovation, Meg collaborates with retail and digital partners to optimize product listings, improve conversion pathways across pet care categories. So why don't you guys take it away?
Thank you, Ben. Yeah,
No
excited
problem.
that you guys are all here. Meg and I are excited to share these insights with you guys. And I don't know how many of you are actual dog owners or pet owners, but if you are not, if you think about pet food, it's probably similar to, well, actually, it's more than a cereal aisle. If you go to a cereal aisle, there are so many choices there for you to look at. Similar is true for dog. There are so many brands that are out there. But it's not just brands. Within a brand, there's lots of breed sizes. There's different volume sizes. There's 10-pound, there's 20-pound, there's 40-pound bags. There's flavors. Some dogs are very picky about what they want to eat. So you may only need to buy chicken food or steak food or seafood. So there are lots of different flavors within those brands. And there's also different breed sizes. So a large dog needs that larger kibble, whereas a small dog can't eat that. And they need a kibble that's made for them and made for their mouth so that they can chew it and digest it easier. Okay, so as we were saying, there are so many choices when you go to shop for dog food or for cat food. There's different volume sizes, breed sizes, flavors, special diets. So if your pet is having some kind of stomach issues or if they're aging, there's different diets for that. And if they're a puppy, we actually just got a puppy 2 weeks ago, so we're buying puppy food right now. He was quite the little terror right now, but we're excited to have him as part of our family. But when we walk to those shelves to try to figure out what do we need to buy for our new puppy, it's fairly organized when you go in store. You can see here that it's brand blocked, but not only is brand blocked, it's also, we can see that vertical striping of colors that helps us figure out, okay, these are different flavors or these are different varieties of that bag. And you can also see it's organized by sizes. Those large bags are sitting there on the bottom shelf, whereas on the top shelf, you have those smaller bags. So it's pretty well organized. There are so many choices that I won't say that it's not overwhelming when you first get a puppy or first get a dog to go to that shelf, but that shelf organization really helps facilitate that journey and allows you to shop easier. However, when you go online, that is not the case. It is the wild, wild west, and we actually are all seeing different products. Those algorithms differ from person to person based on past searches, based on your preferences. And not only is it not organized as how it is when you go in store, the shelves are also limitless. In store, you have a finite space that you can put a certain number of products. Online, you can have thousands and thousands and thousands. So it's somewhat overwhelming as we go online to shop, and more people we see are going online to shop, especially for dog food, because who wants to go into the store, get that 40-pound bag off the bottom shelf, put it in your cart, and then put it up on the conveyor belt, and then lug it into your house. So much easier to have it directly delivered to your doorstep. So we see that shift happening of a lot of people moving online to purchase dog food, but there's also this frustration of how do they find what they're looking for? And so that was really one of our questions here, is how can we simplify that process? So one of the hypotheses was, could we use variations to simplify that process and really make it easier for shoppers to find what they're looking for? And you maybe ask, what are you talking about when I say variations? So you can see here this little options button. It's representing different options. So that may be flavor, that may be size, that may be special diets. And so we're trying to simplify that journey to have that one icon represent multiple different bags. So when you click into it, you can make that choice and see what are all the different options. So that's really what we wanted to test here. And you may say, well, how do we test it? So iSquare creates mirror image websites because we think it's very important to understand those behaviors. We all know that we may ask a person what they prefer or ask them what they think they do, and that doesn't always line up with their behaviors. I may ask you, do you eat healthy? And your answer is probably going to be yes. But if I were super creepy and followed you home and into your pantry, I might find something different. Or if I followed along on your shopping journey, online or in store, I may see those Debbie cakes, those chips, and all the junk food go in your bag. So we really want to make sure that we're measuring behaviors and we're putting people in context so that we can see, as we introduce new variables, how does that behavior shift? And so in this case, we created a mirror image website and we tested all these different variations. So you can see that we tested 34 different scenarios. We were testing single variations, meaning we just looked at if we variate size alone, or we tested double variation. So we looked at size and flavor, or triple variation. And does that help or does that hinder shoppers as they're choosing their packages? And then we also looked at bundling strategy. So if we throw a wet food or treats in with that dry dog food, is it going to be a basket builder? Are they going to opt and like trade up to that scenario? And so the methodology and how respondents went through their interview is we invited we invited pet owners. We tested both cat and dog here. And then we told them, hey, go shop for dog food or go shop for dog treats or wet cat food. And then we placed them in these environments and they can navigate it, mirror images, the website, so that they could search if they typically search, if they typically use navigate, or if they typically use taxonomies or menus or filters. They are able to do this because we want to capture that natural behavior. And we watched and monitored to see what are they engaging with as they get to that dry food. Are they engaging and clicking into PDPs? And on those PDPs, are they engaging with those different variations? And what are they actually putting into their cart? So we're getting that behavior that they're doing in a realistic environment. But then we also wanted to follow up with questions. We want to get the what, but we also want to get the why. And so we asked them, hey, did you like these variations? Did you notice the options? What's your preference here? So that we're tapping into that implicit and explicit thinking, and that we're getting the what's and we're getting the whys. And so now we want to shift to that. We've explained what we did. We want to talk about what we learned. But before we do that, we are researchers, so we love to research here, and so we want to do an experiment. And so if you'll indulge us for just a second, we'd ask for you to pull out your phones, or you can open up a new window and go to Walmart. And once you do that, we want you to look for toothpaste. And add a product to your basket, if you will. You don't have to purchase it. We're not asking you to do that. But as you shop, are you noticing those different options? And everybody's getting different products at the top. So you may get products where you see the options at first, or you may get that add to cart button. And just think while you're doing that exercise, are those options helpful? Or are they hindering you? Are they an annoyance to you? And so just keep that in mind as Meg takes you through the results that we saw. So Meg, over to you.
Thanks, Chrissy. So I'm going to give everyone just a minute as we go through. I've got Walmart pulled up on my phone too, and was doing that as Chrissy was talking. And one of the things, the very first thing I would say that we learned going through this is that shoppers aren't paying attention to everything that's on the PDP or on the search results page. And so as someone who works in CPG marketing, I'm in this day to day. I know I'm thinking about every little element that we put on our pages as we work on our own pages and with our retail partners. But shoppers, that's not what they're looking at. And as a shopper, I know a lot of times I'm shopping while I'm waiting for my family, or I'm in line at the grocery store, or I'm on the go somewhere else. And I've got a lot of different things that are going on while I'm adding items to my basket. And it's the same with our regular shoppers. So little details are things that shoppers oftentimes miss, especially if they're not called out in a way that stands out to them. So this example on this page here, we've got some products have a direct add to cart button. Other ones have an options button that take them to the PDP to look at the different variants that are available. But shoppers aren't noticing this difference. They're not cognitively thinking about whether to add items to their cart or click into the options. And this is something you may have seen going through the toothpaste exercise. Some of the products you were able to directly add to cart, some required you to go to the PDP, but it may not have been something that you cognitively noticed as you went through. The second thing that we learned, Chrissy, perfect, is that a lot of shoppers do prefer to directly add items to their basket from the search results page. In fact, over 80% of shoppers say that they would rather do that than having to click into a PDP, especially if they already know what product they're looking for. They don't want to be sent on a wild goose chase or a treasure hunt to find where their product is living on the page. They just want to be able to add it to their cart and then move on and continue with their shopping experience. And so when we group products together that are less intuitive to shoppers and require them to click into one product to find another in a way that doesn't make sense to them, that can feel like a less than ideal shopping experience. And so we have a video here from a shopper actually demonstrating what this looks like. So we gave her a mission to look for the Iams large breed lamb and rice flavor, which in this version of the website that we built is variated underneath the Iams large breed chicken flavor, the green product on the top, the row that we can see on the right here. And she has to click into it to find lamb and rice. But as you'll see in the video, that's not intuitive to her. And so she's hunting around trying to find it. And it can be a frustrating experience. So if we want to play the video, Chrissy.
All right. Iams, big dog, you said with lamb, I think, right? I don't know if that's it or not. Let's see. Chicken and turkey. No. All right. So large breed. I honestly didn't see that one, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that one. The Iams large breed lamb. Yeah, I mean, most of what I saw was chicken flavor. I don't think I saw a lamb. But yeah, when I look at this one, excuse me, I feel like that's something we've tried already. I don't think he'd eat. So I just kind of skip right over it, I guess, more or less.
Mm-hmm. And I would love for you to click on that specific bag there. Yep. And now that we're on this page, let me know what you're finding, if this is more helpful for the task, any new things that you're finding out, anything that jumps out here.
I do see that there's another flavor listed here that I would not have realized that was looking at the picture before clicking on it. So I see that they offer this one here as well. And that's probably why I didn't see it before, because I didn't see the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems, yeah.
So in this video here, we saw that she didn't necessarily think she had to click into the one product to find the other. And we've got the quote here at the top. I probably would just never have found it and just assume they didn't have it. And that's what we hear for shoppers. When we build an experience that is not ideal for them, they're not going to spend as much time as she spent here hunting around for a product. They're going to see, oh, they don't have it. I'm just going to assume that they don't carry it. And if you're a manufacturer, they might switch to a competitor product, which is not ideal for you. And if you're a retailer, they might actually abandon the retail experience entirely and go to a different retailer for that trip, and also potentially for future trips if they find an experience that feels more intuitive to them. So we want to make sure that we're grouping products together that make sense in an intuitive way to shoppers. And our third finding that leads us here too, once we group these products together, we want to make sure we're communicating that in a way that makes sense to shoppers. So I've got two examples here from a search results page from two different retailers of how these retailers are communicating that there's variations available if you click into the PDP. And the first one on the left says 3 flavors, 8 sizes. And the other one just says more choices available. So again, going back to our finding in the second bullet point, we don't want to send shoppers on a wild goose chase. We don't want to make them hunt for their products or have to guess where these products are sitting. So if something just says more choices available and they're looking for maybe different sizes and click in, they find it's different flavors, they then have to click back out and keep hunting. And the more clicks a shopper has to go through to find their product, the more likely they are to just abandon the experience and not add anything to their cart. And finally, our final finding here, once they do get to that PDP and they see the options that are available, we don't want to overwhelm them. So in this example here with the pedigree bag, we've got size, we've got flavor, we also have breed size listed on this page, and there's a lot of options. And so if we put too many options on the same page for shoppers to choose between, they can feel overwhelmed, which is another moment that they might end up abandoning the experience. If they feel like it's too much, they have to click into all the different options to see what's available. So again, as we think about grouping products together, putting products that feel intuitive to put together based off of the category is the right way to move forward. And how I like to think about it is if it's a product that if a shopper is standing in a physical shelf and you pull 2 different products off the shelf and you think, do I want to buy this one or this one? That's a natural, those two naturally make sense to put together because that's a natural choice shoppers would be making. But if they're 2 products that shoppers would never consider choosing between, they probably don't belong on the same page together because that just clutters things. So I think that brings us to the end of our main findings from this. Again, it all just comes back to making an intuitive experience for shoppers to find what they're looking for in a way that makes sense and streamlines the process for them. But Chrissy and I think we've got some time here for any questions if people have any.
Okay, I do see we have a couple of questions. First one being online versus offline shopping. What are the main differences you see?
So I think Chrissy really touched on this with the picture of the physical shelf at the very beginning of the presentation. Offline or brick and mortar, products are easily grouped together. Shoppers can see everything that's available right when they look at it. And a lot of times brands are grouped together, breed sizes, flavors. And so it's really easy to see everything that's available versus online, you may have to hunt a bit. You can go through multiple iterations of searches to find the products that you're looking for. And it pretty much is an endless shelf. There's a lot more options available. And so online is when shoppers are more likely to just feel overwhelmed by the number of products. And that's where we want to make sure we're being intuitive about grouping things together in a way that makes sense to guide shoppers through the process.
Nicely said. So I do have another question here. How do shoppers react when key product variations are omitted from the SRP?
So I think that is similar to the experience. Yeah, so I think flipping forward to the very last one, number 4, could be a good illustration here. So, I mean, that happens sometimes. I think when a shopper clicks in, it's going to be similar to the number 2 where she was looking for the lamb. If they don't see the product that they're expecting to see on the PDP here, they're naturally just going to assume it's not available, especially if they're seeing similar options available here. And that's a moment where they might abandon the experience. If it's a product they really want, they're going to leave the retailer to find someone who does carry it, or they might choose an alternative product either within the brand, or again, if you're a manufacturer, that's where you risk losing them to another brand that has a similar product. And so variating some products and unvariating others, we want to make sure we're being smart about that and putting products together that shoppers are going to expect to find together.
Would you keep those same sort of product thought process in store as well, or does it change for that online experience?
I mean, the online and offline shopping experience is a little bit different just because what you can see the number of products that are available. Certainly within pet food, and I'm assuming within a lot of other CPG products, there's certain flavors or sizes or formats that are available online only. But intuitively, it makes sense. We probably wouldn't put products together that you'd find on opposite sides of the store together online, because a lot of our shoppers are omni shoppers. They sometimes shop in store and sometimes online. And so they want to have similar experiences, especially across retailers that have both brick and mortar and online presences. We don't want it to feel like a totally disjointed experience.
Yeah, we do hear a lot about this omni shopping. And I do have another question. How do your virtual pre-testing sandboxes simulate real-world shopping behavior? And what specific metrics do you track to evaluate the effectiveness of different variation strategies in those environments?
Chrissy, I'm going to kick this one to you.
Yeah, that sounds like a Chrissy question.
What was the first part of that, Ben? Can you repeat that? Sorry.
How do your virtual pre-testing sandboxes simulate real-world shopping behavior? And what specific metrics do you track?
So we create these environments to mimic that environment. We've actually, one of our other clients has kind of giggled about it before, that when we've shown them some of the results and we've looked at like the search bar, we will see crazy different categories in there, because people forget. They go and do their mission, but then they often forget because it looks just like a Walmart or just like an Amazon, and they'll start doing like their regular shopping, and we've seen that. So we really do gauge realistic behaviors, because these mirror environments are so realistic, and shoppers completely lose sight of the fact that they're in this virtual environment and they shop as they normally would. And then what was the second part of that? I know it was regarding the variation strategies.
Yeah, I think it's just the metrics.
Oh, yeah. So we actually collect all the click behavior. So whether people are clicking on right here, you can see secondary images. We'll see if they scroll to that. We'll see if they actually click on it. If they zoom into it, we can see if they're clicking to these different variation strategies, if they add it to cart, if they take it out of cart. And we can see how far they scrolled on the SRP. We know on the SRP that people typically do not scroll past the first page. Usually the first 10 products, it varies from category to category, but that's usually if you're sitting within that first 10 products, you're likely to get in the basket. If you're sitting on the second page, on the third page, there's a very low percentage chance that you're going to get in basket. So we collect all the behaviors of as far as how far are they scrolling, what are they engaging with, what are they clicking on, what are they adding to their cart, what are they taking out of their cart, how long they're engaging, so we can tell how long that this product was in view and what that duration looks like. So we capture all the different behaviors so that we can truly understand, are we moving the needle in a positive direction or not?
Very, very holistic there. Nice. Well, thank you so much, Chrissy and Meg. I don't have any other questions, but thank you so much for your presentation today, and yeah, have a great day.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And if you guys have any other questions or would love to chat, feel free to reach out to us.